evening, everyone. Welcome back to another weekly market review for F45trading.com. This week we are, of course, discussing March 15th to the 19th. Some interesting stuff last week in the markets, as you all will well know, and we'll get into that here right now. I'm just going to real quickly bring up the economic news calendar for the week, because there are a couple of heavy hitters you're definitely going to want to be aware of. Starting Monday, really void of any major high and medium impact news events. I didn't drop down to the low impact of economic events, but you can do that on your own time to see if there's anything there worth of note. But we want to more specifically focus on the core retail sales numbers on Tuesday for the US dollar, of course, and CPI for Canadian dollar on Wednesday, and FOMC economic projections and FOMC statements. So that's going to be that's going to be the big driver here for the week. Now, they're currently not projecting any interest rate movement here at all. We do, and we have been hearing some rumblings about inflation starting to creep in. So I wouldn't be surprised. And the Fed has come in and said, obviously, that they will allow for some inflation to come into play. Let it run a little bit more than previously. So we'll see what that looks like going forward, but for now I think we're pretty safe to say that they're not going to release any surprise interest rate hike or anything like that. So I don't think we have too much to worry about. I do think that the US dollar has priced a little bit of that in anyways, and I'll talk about that here in a minute, but watch this on Wednesday because it's going to be a pretty heavy day for Wednesday, and it's going to last for a while. So obviously we've got 2:30 p.m. New York time. We've got the FOMC press conference. It's going to be answering all the questions and everything there too. So we'll have a pretty good day on Wednesday, and then Thursday we've got some major high impact news events for the pound sterling. They've got the official UK bank rate statement coming out, and again, they're also not predicting any changes as well too. So far we've seen the euro, we've seen Canadian dollar, we've seen Australian dollar. All three majors have not budged their interest rates, and I highly doubt that we'll see any movement between the U.S. and GBP either. So that's about it for the week. So I just want to bring that up. Make sure you note that Wednesday could be a pretty crazy day. If you are going to enter any trades, you may want to just hold off until that news release and all the economic statements have subsided, or make sure you're firmly into a position with your stops at break even or better for that, just in case you get some kind of crazy gyration like this happening. Now, going forward, so looking at the dollar, so if you look at this is a weekly chart on the dollar. We've been stuck in this consolidation here since last November, so pretty much from the time of the U.S. election. We had price briefly drop down in here in January and then shoot higher right back up into this weekly consolidation up into here. So far, it looks like it's rejecting, but anything can happen, and it is FOMC week, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we didn't just shoot back higher for another round before we rolled over, or if we come back down and slam back down into the weekly bodies of this consolidation area and then possibly bounce higher. I'd like to see weaker US dollar just because of, with inflation and the raising of interest rates, it will typically drive the US dollar higher. However, if you look at it right now, we're in a very unprecedented situation that we currently find ourselves in, where the Feds are printing money like it's going out of style. They need to continue to do it in order to prop the markets up, because let's be honest, they would not be going anywhere without all these stimulus packages coming into the market at full speed. And so really, with the inflation that's going to ensue, the natural recourse is obviously to raise interest rates. But and typically with that, US dollar does get stronger. However, I think we're probably going to see the opposite effect happen here, at least for the short term anyway. We could see a little bit more upside on the dollar, but I ultimately believe long term will probably be lower. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what we get. But so far, we've had a bit of a rejection from last week after it hammered up into these highs here. I should say the lows of those highs. And now we're starting to push up a little bit here at the time of this recording, which is Sunday. Coming into the open of the week, we're seeing higher prices. So we'll see how much higher they want to get. We had a nice sell-off last Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday tried to sell off a little bit, but obviously we got another quick sharp run higher back into the lows of these, and a pretty big rejection. So just from that Friday alone, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see lower prices. But if Friday gets taken out, so if price comes above here on Friday, I would be probably fairly convinced that we may see another run up into this area in here. And last week, all we did, we shot up into this consolidation. We just came to the body highs of these candles here. You can see that there at 92.50. So certainly, if you look at this as price came down, ran higher, and had a failure swing here, and we could possibly see a deeper run up into higher targets, I would fully expect this 92.50 to get run out. And what would confirm that, I think, is if we have a daily close above Friday's high, then I think it would be a fairly easy thing to target this high and possibly these highs in here for the end of the week. Now, again, it is FOMC, so anything could happen. We could sit in here and bank around here for the next 2 or 3 days, and then Wednesday whipsaws up here and then crashes back lower, or the exact opposite could happen. So right now, we're just kind of waiting to see, and I believe we'll probably have a real good idea after the FOMC report on Wednesday kicks in as to exactly which way we're going to go. Because, I mean, if you look at where we came in on, we just came from a pretty tightly consolidated range for the past few months, and we saw a little bit of market structure break to the upside. Now, if you think about it, though, if you look at the, for instance, yearly profile, price starts out here, and depending on where we're going, so let's say, hypothetically speaking, we have a year that closes lower than the open. What typically you'll see happen is you'll see price run higher, and then we could see price go lower, and then probably, you know, finish somewhere like this towards the end of the year. So if you look at the yearly candle, you'll probably get something, you know, like this candle right here, for instance, right? Where price opened up right here, shot higher, rejected, and then came lower. Are we getting that right now? Because again, we are in March, so there's plenty of time left in the year. First quarter is not quite over yet. In another 2 weeks or so, do we see that happen and price falls off and we see a lower close to the year? That's what I'm waiting to see. I think we're going to have a pretty good idea after this week. But again, like I say, watch the high on Friday. I think if we close on the daily above Friday's high, we can target here. If we fail to get above or really go anywhere outside of this candle here, then it's probably going to stay like that until Wednesday. And then I would kind of favor the downside personally, but we'll have to wait and see. If we get lower than here, you may want to be very conservative. I've got 2 levels on here that I'm looking at. One to the downside is 90.45, and the other is a sweep below these 2 lows here and a run back down to about the 91 even level. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. So if we break Friday's low and Thursday's low there, I think we can target here and maybe leave it a little bit on to target there. If we break Friday's high, then I think we target here and possibly up into here. Okay? I apologize. I'd like to be a little bit more decisive instead of giving you both sides of the market. But if you look at where we are, we're just still kind of right in a bit of a range. I like what we see here on the weekly. The weekly, when price does this, it typically looks like it's going to tends to bounce off of this and could potentially run lower. So we basically have a breakout and a retest and then another leg lower. But again, with FOMC this week, anything could happen. So we could see some prices whipsawing a little bit. So just be careful. EurUsd, same thing basically, but in reverse. We had price on the weekly slam back down to this consolidation area in here. Had a pretty decent rejection, and then now it looks like we're climbing higher. Now, there is one little area here. These highs right here from last Friday and Thursday, I believe those will get run out. Just a matter of when they're going to do that, if they do it before or after the FOMC. If they kind of bank around in here for the next couple of days, you can probably assume they're going to shoot it lower, maybe run out these lows here, and then possibly these lows right there, and then possibly run higher. And you can easily target that for a nice little couple of days swing trade. If price breaks down into here and not want to go any lower and it leaves these highs intact, I would look for them maybe to crest underneath here. Probably won't go through there and then break higher, and you can target that 200 area up in here that I've got. If you see price shoot up into here, though, before FOMC, there's a good chance we could swing back down. So again, like I say, we're kind of in a bit of a mixed range right here. Where we're currently at, as you can see. But I like how we made a nice low here and price rejected very quickly. We had a fairly decent upside to the week albeit on Friday, where we sold off quite rapidly in London and then pulled back quite a bit into New York. So we'll see sort of what happens, folks. Again, I'm just sort of waiting till FOMC on Wednesday, but this area here and that area there are definitely the targets depending on where we go. Again, price just opened up, so I'm kind of waiting to get a little more information as to where we're heading from here. But I definitely identify these two levels on your charts for sure. And be about, and I think it'd be a sweep down to about 190 even. But it's the current level. It's 119.10. So if price sweeps, so basically, I guess to summarize, if price sweeps lower than here, and we do not want to go through this area here, this is my no-go zone. So if we start trading back down to 1850s, which is about 50 or 60 pips lower than here, then it's probably going to continue to roll over, and we'll see much lower prices to close the week. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. It certainly could. But what I'd like to see is price shoot down here and reject, maybe run 10, 20, maybe 30 pips below, reject, and then go higher. If you see that and price starts trading back above these lows here, I'd feel pretty comfortable in possibly targeting this area in here. Okay, so you can watch for that. GBP USD had an interesting week. So the past 4 weeks, we've really just been chopping in a bit of a range, apart from this big shot higher, moonshot here, and then it fell back down in the range. But so far, it's all this thing has been doing is just sort of trending sideways. It tried to get back down and bank off of these highs in here. We haven't done it yet. 2 weeks ago, it almost did that. And I thought last week we were going to start to see that and shoot down and then reject off of it, but we just went straight higher. Now again, look at this price here. We haven't gone anywhere. It's just been chopping sideways. You see that right in here. Nice run down, didn't go anywhere. Came back, didn't take out those highs, sitting sideways. So this leads me to believe we've got one low here and another low there. So we've got equal lows there. This leads me to believe that they could sweep those again. It's very similar to what I just mentioned to you on EurUsd right in here, maybe even lower. But if you look at that, that to me looks like they could possibly sweep that. Now, do they shoot higher after that and try and get up into here? You know, I think for this week at the very least, if we see that run lower, taking out this area and an unwillingness to go back down into this consolidation range, I believe that the easy target is going to be these highs right in here. Okay, so that looks like this. So just to kind of reiterate, I'd like to see price shoot down into here, reject, sweep below those lows there, and then run up to there. That's what I'm looking for. Again, anything's possible this week. If you see the opposite happen, then we're going to probably see, if you see price not wanting to go lower, but then run for these highs, that could be the next alternative, okay? But I have a feeling we're going to sweep down below those two lows there. They just kind of left them just nice and perfect. And they're really too good, I think, to be left like that. But long story short, I think we're probably ultimately going to see higher prices on GBP. And you look at this, I mean, I'm not going to suggest that unless we break these lows here, I would not have a bearish stance on GBP USD. I would continue to remain bullish. So until that level under here gets broken, we're still going to remain bullish. Okay. And the other one too is Euro GBP is breaking to the downside quite nicely in here. So as this continues to fall over, if we do get more downside to come, this will only push GBP USD higher. Okay. Australian dollar, very similar as well too. We had market structure retrace back down in here, had an aggressive repricing higher, and then we lost some of that the past couple of weeks, and then we rebalanced right off this consolidation level. So this could just be a breakout, return back to the consolidation with another leg higher. That's what I'm still waiting to see. Again, FOMC will tell us what's going on. If we start to lose this area under here, then again, we'll probably see stronger prices on the dollar, which will erode the Aussie prices, and we could see it trade maybe back down under here, certainly underneath these lows here. So we'll just, again, have to wait and see what's happening. I like how they left these highs here. Same thing that I was saying with EurUsd and GbpUsd. I like those equal highs there. To me, it looks like they want higher prices. But again, with FOMC this week, we'll probably see this shoot a little bit lower. Might take out these two lows here. Definitely do not discount that as well. Very, very similar to GBP USD, right? With those lows that I just identified right there. Very similar there. And very similar to EurUsd with all these lows under here. So again, they're all setting up the exact same. So I'm anticipating a run and a retracement. But I don't know if the US dollar continues higher, it'll be the opposite. So we'll see a run higher and then a retracement and it'll go lower. Okay, so watch US dollar this week and this will let you know. If we break higher than here this week, then short foreign currencies. If we break lower underneath these lows here, long foreign currencies, okay? And USCAD, if you look at this guy here, this thing really sold off last week here. So this is another reason why I'm kind of alluding to the fact that I think US dollar potentially could have hit its high in here, just at the depth at which USCAD has been running south. This thing has really been piling lower. Now, we are into a major support area in here. It could bounce back up, and it could bounce all the way back up to 125.70s. And we're currently at 124.60, so it could easily bounce 100 pips higher. Be careful of that. But if we start trading back into this consolidation range in here, then you know, obviously, US dollar is going to push higher, USCAD is going to push higher, Euro, Cable, Aussie, pushing lower, okay? So I hope that is nice and clear for you folks. I'm just going to bring up very quickly crude oil. We had our target hit here very easily at the start of last week at $67. So mission accomplished there. That's why I got the little check mark right there. That was my target to the upside. I told you guys, I've been telling you guys since, you know, price was down in here that these equal highs are going to get run out. Sure enough, it's exactly what it did. It only took, you know, a couple, 3 months or so for it to happen. And I was a little surprised just looking at this market structure to the upside here that we didn't get a few more decent pullbacks before it did. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Sometimes the price does that, especially when it's that bullish. If you look at the seasonal history of crude oil and energy prices, they are very bullish the first 3 to 4 months or so of the year. And that's exactly what we got. Price did not let us down. So, you know, we'll be looking for bullish prices probably to continue for a little bit longer. Now, I said 67 was the target earlier. So now we've got our next highs set at right up here, which I actually apologize. I forgot to do that on my pre-market setup. So we'll see if we still remain bullish. The next number to the upside is going to be $77 per barrel, which is $11 higher than we're currently at. So, you know, again, folks, we'll see what happens here. I'd like, personally, though, this week to see price shoot under here, rebalance in here, and then see if we can't get a market move higher. But we'll see what happens. So far, crude's been very bullish and not really giving us these great entries, unfortunately. So we'll have to see. But we had a great entry in here last week. And again, my members got privy to all of that information live as it was happening. So if you guys want to check any of that out for yourself, you can go on to f45trading.com and see all the options that are available to you. So for everybody else, I will talk to you next week as always. For all of my members, I'm looking forward to this week here, and we will see you in the chat room tomorrow. Have a great evening, folks. Hope you enjoyed your weekend, and we'll catch up to you later.